guys, and welcome back to another Ponytails with Kellyanne video. This one, for the first time since I think May, I've actually got layers on. It's a little bit foggy this morning. We had a lot of rain yesterday, which was absolutely amazing. We had it for quite a long period of time as well, and the ground really needed it, and it already looks greener. It's amazing. But anyway, today is a slightly different video. Zeus has actually got an injury. He got it a couple of days ago. He has got a swelling on the top of his wither. I don't know whether he has been out in the field and he's been playing around with the other horses and the horse has reared up and kind of landed on him, or because the ground has been so hard, he's possibly rolled over a stone, and he's just got a slight bruising and a slight swelling over his wither. Because it's not very fleshy, obviously the bruising at the moment is still quite solid. It is softening. It's a lot softer than it was yesterday, so I can't ride, and I won't be able to ride unfortunately until the swelling and the pain has gone. But as you can tell, he's happily eating his hay. He's happily moving his hay around and eating and moving his head, so I'm not too worried about the injury. I just need to make sure that he heals and that he rests, but because I need to encourage him, because of where the pain is, I don't want him to kind of stiffen up. I'm going to take him down to the school for probably about 10 minutes, do some pole work, some raised pole work as well, kind of really encourage him to stretch and use his back a little bit, which will hopefully help with easing some of the bruising. And then I've also got a flannel, so afterwards I'm just going to get the cold flannel, put it over his wither for about 5 minutes to try and draw out any of the heat, and then put some witch hazel and arnica gel on it, and then hopefully with a week's worth of rest and all of that, hopefully he will be back in tip-top shape. It's a bit of a shame because it is the bank holiday this weekend, so I was hoping to take him back down to the woods in the trailer like my previous video, but it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that he is okay and we can get him better, which I'm sure we can. So I'll quickly show you his bruising so you can see, because I know a lot of you will probably be quite keen to see what the bruising is, and then yeah, I'll put his bridle on and we'll take him down to the school. So guys, here's the Zeusy we all know and love. Oh god, I missed a bit of mud on your face there. God, terrible. I have groomed him, and as you can see, this is the area of the swelling. You can possibly see it. It's hard because he's so dark, but you should be able to see some of the bruising and some of the swelling on this side. It does go all the way over, so I'll quickly take you over to the other side. It's harder to see this side because of his... Stand still, I know. It's hard to see this side because of his mane. But yeah, you can see the swelling just here and the bruising. There is a little bit of heat and it is quite squishy now. Yesterday it was quite solid. But yeah, what's happened, I think, is he's been playing out in the field with the horses and they've gone down on him here, or he's just rolled. And obviously this is a point of where they roll, and he's rolled on something a bit solid. But it doesn't matter. As you can tell, I can poke and prod it. He's a little bit uncomfortable because it is quite bruised, but he's not showing any outright signs of pain. Obviously, if it was higher up, you've got to be really careful because they can fracture their wither. It does take a bit of doing, but it can be done. This one's a little bit further down, but unfortunately it is exactly where the saddle sits. So that's why we won't be able to ride him until the injury is any better. But yeah, he looks quite good. It won't do him any harm to have a few days off, and we'll go and do some pole work now. So I'll see you guys down at the school. So guys, as you can see, I have sped this video up a little bit so that you're not just staring at me and Zeus wandering up and down some poles for 10 minutes. But as you can see, I have just weaved him in and out of all the poles just so he can have a good look at them. Obviously, I have purposely put a blue one in there because I feel that when you use the same colour poles in a row, the horses kind of turn a little, like switch off a little bit. So I always like to put a slightly more colourful one in there just to kind of of like give them something to think about. But yeah, when I was comfortable that he was happy with them, I just took him in walk just over all of them right next to him. And these ones are just flat poles, and I've just done these 3 strides apart, which are probably a little bit longer than they need to be, but I'm quite happy with having them slightly longer, getting him to stretch out that little bit more. So once I'd gone up and down with them, I thought I'd give him a quick little stretch. I always put the rope down. You're probably not meant to, but I always put the lead rope down just because it makes it easier trying to stretch him. And as you can see, I've got treats here to give him a stretch, but on this one, yep, he spooked at the rope. He's never ever spooked at this rope before. This is our long rein that we've had right from when he was a baby. But no, today he decided he wanted to have a bit of a spook at it. So yeah, and he was still a little bit tense for both his stretches on the other side. So as you can see, I kind of wave it around his neck just to kind of try and desensitize him to it. And as you can tell, he's not really that bothered. I think maybe the fog was a bit disorientating for him. So I think it's kind of like put him on edge. He sometimes has more sensitive days than others. But yeah, he was really, really good by the end. So I put my gloves back on, got my rope all back together. As you can see, I'm winding it all back up. And then I will start going back over the poles. So it's always good to give your horses a stretch. So the weaving and the first lot of poles are kind of a warm up. Then I've given him a stretch just to make sure he loosens up. And now obviously this is like classed as the main part of the session. Even though the session was 10 minutes long, it's always very, very important to start off easy and kind of work up and then also work back down. I'll give him some stretches towards the end of the session or at the end of the session before I take him in. So now he's gone over all the straight ones, I raise every other pole on a different side, and these are just believe it or not, these are just potties that you can get from IKEA, and I just use these to raise the poles slightly. As you can tell, it doesn't raise them too much. So yeah, I take him over the poles again, straight through the middle, and that he works really, really well. If I'm honest, I don't even think he really notices that the poles are raised, but I just go up and down, and as you can tell, he is picking his feet up really nicely. He's not touching any of the poles. He's stretching down. He's not tense or anything. So he is stretching his neck down, which is kind of what I wanted. I just don't want him to stiffen up. With the injury on his withers, obviously it is very easy for them to stiffen up and kind of almost get like a sore neck. You know, if we get a sore neck, we try not to use it, and I don't want him to do that. I don't want to encourage him to do that. So these now, I've just raised the poles on either side. So there's a flat pole, a raised pole, a flat pole and a raised pole. And here he goes over the first raised pole really lovely. The second raised pole, yeah, he trips. He just wasn't paying any attention. He just stacked it. But going back over, he remembered, and he was really, really good going back down. This one's away from home, and then we turned straight back around and went over it again. And as you can tell, he's quite excited at this point. He's got a little bit of a pace on, and he was quite happy with that. Hey guys, so the pole work is all done. As you'll see from the video, we've done some raised poles, we've done some half raised poles, then we've done some flat poles. He was a really, really good boy, not showing many signs of discomfort or pain, and he was lifting himself up quite nicely over the poles, so I was really chuffed with that. So I'm just going to do some stretches with him now. So I've got his little treat pouch, and I'm just going to do one stretch with his shoulder on this side. So you see, no, where are you going? Come here. Stand. Stand. This side, stretch. Good boy. So as you can see, he's got a little stretch there. Over the other side. Stand. This side. Good boy. That's it. Just encouraging a nice stretch. And then also doing a nice long one, making sure that he can stretch his neck. Back up. Back. Good boy. So I'm keeping my hand on his shoulder, on his chest, just to keep him away. Make sure he stays still. One more. And stretch as long as you can. That's it. Good boy. There we are. So that's all the treats gone. All that's done. So I've just got to put the poles away, and I'll see you back at the stable. So Zeus is all done and untacked. He wants his muffin. I got a new tub, so it says Zeus's muffins, so he can have one of his stuffed muffins, not the tub. That's it. There you go. See, you don't have to be out of action to not get your muffin. So yeah, like I said, he done really well on the session. I only done about 10 minutes. We've also done some stretches, which is really good for him. I've got my flannel now, so I'm going to go and quickly put this in some cold water and just lie it on his withers if he'll allow me to for sort of 5 minutes, hopefully just to kind of try and bring down some of the heat, because there is a little bit of heat in it. And then we'll put some witch hazel and arnica gel on it, and then he can have his dinner. So does that sound good, Juicy? Does that sound good? Hi. You're such a good boy. Such a good boy. You're not having another one. I know, you might be sore, but you're not having another one. He's like, why not, Mummy? He wants another muffin. Yeah, we're gonna do this. You're gonna let me do this? I think that's it if I have to. I've lost a layer because, you know, the sun's coming out now. Yeah. I know. He's a good boy. Right. I've got my bucket of cold water. Mind your butt, Zeus. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, you're going to be a bit spooky with this. Good boy. That's it. Good lad. There you go. I'm just going to try and lie that on. Act a little bit as a cold compress. Good boy. I'm going to shut the stable door just in case. And set a little 5-minute timer. Yeah. He's like, what is going on? What is this? Good boy. Oh, you're being very good with that. Is that nice? Is it because you know Mummy's helping? I know. He actually, guys, really enjoyed his pole lesson. Oh, thank you. He actually really enjoyed his pole session. He was actually a bit kind of gung-ho for it, weren't you? He liked it, especially when Mummy raised them. He tripped over one of them, which was quite funny. He went over one of the raised ones, and he went over it really well. And I was like, oh, that's quite good. And then went over the flat pole, and then there was another raised pole. And the second raised pole, it's like he didn't even notice it was raised, and he just went, whoop, straight over it, didn't you? That was a bit silly. Yeah. Bless him. I love my phony. I love my phony. I know, I love my phony. I hug him here. Give him leggy hugs. So those of you that know and follow me on Instagram will know that I've had Zeus from a foal. And honestly, he's now stands at about 15.2. He looks bigger because I'm quite short. I'm only about 5'3". He's about 15.2. And obviously he has kind of starting to chunk out now. He's 11. But when I first started looking after him, and I owned him from 4 months old, but I've been taking care of him since he was 3.5 months. When I first started looking after him, his height was here. He was under my boobs. That's just how I remember the measure. And he was there. There. That was your back. Where's my little foal gone? Where's my little foal gone? Oh, he's going to have his food now. I'm going to quickly take it off, dip it in the cold water again, and put it back on. And I'll keep that on then for the remainder of the time. But yeah, so I've backed him all myself, I've broke him all myself. Yeah, he was actually quite good actually. But obviously those again who have followed me and watched my previous video, he was a little bit reluctant to load. We went through a spout of not wanting to load. So I've been working on that for the last, I would say, 6 weeks. And then the last Sunday just gone, we managed to take him to the woods and ride him around on his own and bring him back. And he was a really good boy. I was going to do the same again this weekend because it's the bank holiday, but obviously I won't be able to. So I'm just going to be kind of probably doing a bit of what I'm doing. I'm probably going to do some long reining with him. So yeah, so just little things like that. But it just goes to prove that just because your horse is injured doesn't mean you can't just do nothing with them. You don't have to just leave them. Obviously there are some injuries that need more recuperation than others, so some injuries you won't be able to go down to the school and do pole work, or you won't be able to long rein them, or you won't be able to get them out of the stable. But there are still plenty of fun things that you can do in the stable with them. Stretches is a really good one because obviously it encourages them to stretch. Also kind of doing like little bits of games with them, so you know, trying to hide some carrots in hay nets, that's a really good game for them. Obviously Zeus doesn't have hay nets, but if he was on box rest I probably would give him some, just because it's different stimulation for him. You can also do hanging swedes and parsnips and carrots and apples. Obviously at the moment it's still the summer, so frozen ice lollies are also quite good for horses that have got injuries, and again it's something to keep them occupied. Anything like that really. So there's lots and lots of things that you can do even though your horse is injured or out of work. It doesn't mean to say that you can't still spend some time with them. I sometimes will just sit in here with a book with my Kindle and just read, and just to spend some time with Zeusy. And most of the time he just ignores me, but sometimes he'll come and sit with me. But yeah, and also even just putting their bridle on in their stable. Again, if you can't take them anywhere, that's fine, but still putting their bridle on, making sure that they're still kind of used to having the bridle put on, getting them to go forward and go back, practicing their ground manners. Obviously getting them to move from side to side is also a really good one. Yeah, there's lots of different stimulations, but anyway, that's it. That's the 5-minute timer done. So I'm going to take this off and put some witch hazel on. So for you guys that's interested, this is the witch hazel and arnica gel that I use. It's just the gold label one that I was able to get from my local tack shop. Gold label has been around for many years. I really like the products because they are quite old school, and the company Hucklesby Associates has again been around for many years, and is kind of very old school. So I have unscrewed it. There you go. It is balancing on the top of my stable door. So it is this like green jelly. It doesn't look particularly bad. You can see some of Zeus's hairs in it, and obviously you can see I have used quite a bit of this tub. I'm going to probably go to my tack shop in the next couple of days and grab another tub just in case we need it, because we are using this twice a day as requested on here. And obviously this is a really homeopathic way of kind of drawing out the bruising that Zeus has got, and also kind of trying to relieve the heat, the excessive heat on it, which is obviously what I was just doing with the flannel and cold water, and just helps kind of soothe the pain for him, make him a little bit more comfortable. He does seem a lot more comfortable than he was yesterday, so that's after one day of using this twice daily, so that's obviously working, and I'll continue to do that going forward. So let's quickly put this on. So what I do is I'll just put a load on my hand. I use quite a bit because obviously it is quite a big area, and then I find the area and I basically put it either side, try and get his mane out of the way if I can, but yeah, and then basically slather it on either side. I'll put quite a bit on because, like, yeah, I know, darling. Put quite a lot in his mane, but it doesn't matter. There you go. That's it. Try and get all of it out of his mane. And then do the same on the other side. Just make sure that put it all over the lump. Yeah, so you see the lump just here. And actually there is still a little bit of heat in it even after the flanneling, but it is certainly getting a bit easier. So there you go, all done. So that's all I do for this injury, and I'll just leave that on, and I'll do the same again tonight before I turn him out. But yeah, witch hazel and arnica gel is definitely a must-have in anybody's first aid kit. Hey guys, so that's the end of today's video. As you can tell, Zeus is now playing with his ballie. He's got his feed in the bowl behind me, so he's all done for the day, and I'll come and sort him out later tonight and kind of do the flanneling again, do the witch hazel and arnica, and then we'll see how his injury is again tomorrow. If you are new, please like and subscribe to keep up to date with what me and Zeus are up to next and how his injury gets along. I'm sure I'll probably be doing another video on things that we can do, like long reining and things, whilst I'm not able to ride. Also, please follow me on Instagram, which is @ponytails_with_Kellyanne, to again keep up to date with what we're up to daily. And yeah, I would really appreciate the following. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye. Oh, Zeusy, is that fun? Is that fun?